Yo, yo, yo. What is poppin', fellas? How we doing?
So,
Fellas,
good.
This is the first time that we've been together in almost a month. It's been a while, man. It feels weird doing like the bi-weekly recordings because I feel like we can't get like almost into a rhythm, and we've had a lot of weddings and things going on. So if you guys have missed us, this is the first time that we've been all together, us three, I think in a month or 2 episodes. So how we doing though, Cody? How have the last 2 weeks been? And then Ant, we'll get into your last month because you weren't here last episode.
Doing good. It's been quite the last few weeks. Pretty much the whole month of May leading up to early June. It's just been jam packed with stuff, man. I'm pretty tired. My sleep schedule's all over the place. Working, trying to hang out, do, a bunch of shit, and just haven't had really any time to catch up on my Z's. So
yeah,
it's been pretty rough though. But and then I go to Texas on Thursday. So
nice.
Really,
I forgot about that.
No sleep. But we're gonna see the boy Isaac. Shout out my boy.
Sleep. Tell Brooklyn.
Yeah. Gonna go after some Gar,
Sleep.
hit the city, Dallas.
That'll be epic. Yeah, man. Tell Isaac we say hi. Shout you, Isaac.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
Of course.
Anthony, you have not been on since I believe a month ago. So give us a little breakdown because you've had an exciting month.
Yeah.
Go for it, Bubby. Please, Bubby. Please. I'm sorry. I had to. Go for it. Seriously.
It's been a pretty exhausting month, honestly. Where do I start, honestly? I mean, we had the weddings, obviously, in May. We talked about those. That one with Zooch. Shout out Zooch and Jess. Congratulations. And then after that, about a week and a half later, we then had Kevin and Lindsay's wedding. Shout out to you guys. Congratulations. Then after that, I had to go to Arizona for a fire conference. And then after that, I went back to Boise, went to a rodeo, and then went to a beer fest. And then I came back here. And then I have about, from now that we're recording, about a week and a half left here until I have to move back to Boise.
Busy fucking month. However,
yeah.
I think you should air it out, Ant. What happened in Arizona?
Us. Took my National Association of Fire Investigators exam, and I passed on my first try.
Cody, I think got a little too excited.
You got a little too excited.
Right. All right, Ant, your ass is next.
Okay. All right. No, we're not.
We get banned from YouTube. What? That's awesome, though.
No,
man.
but that was good though. So I have my CFEI cert, which is great for me. Yeah, I mean that was very stressful. It was a very stressful exam, but it was good. Yeah, I can't really say too much else about the exam on air, but that's about it. That's all I can really say. Went good though. We passed and we did it.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll make this short and sweet because you guys kind of just described everything. We've been together, whether it's been either recording or at weddings. I feel like on and off for like the last month. So obviously I went to that wedding. It was awesome. Really, really fun time. I have some crazy stories from it that I will not keep in the end zone. And that I've told to everyone. However, shout out to Lindsay and Kevin. That was a really fun wedding. Other than that, though, been trying to catch up on sleep, like Cody said. Have not been doing it. I've just been exhausted. Kind of hurt my hamstring a little bit on, I believe, the second day that I came back from the wedding. So we're working through that. Dude, it's the right one, too. It's the right one. And then work, man. Work has been stressful. But, again, we're not here to talk work or stress. We're here to talk ball. So let's get into it.
Green 18, red 48. Settle down. Wide 80, set hut.
We suck. We suck. Get rid of Belichick. Get rid of Mac Jones. Get rid of our entire fucking receiving core.
You guys are 2-8.
That's what I thought.
7, 2-8. It doesn't matter. We still suck.
So Seahawks played the Ravens. Final score was 28-25. Geno Smith, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Anyway, not really much to write home about that game. Just
right.
This is
I don't think
egregious.
Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFC.
Wait, are you putting Justin Herbert over Jared Goff?
Yes.
It was like an interview for like a new podcast company. Called Brazzers. I mean, you could see I'm literally in the headquarters right now, dude.
God, I love that video so much, man. Also, if we go out, it's because of our internet. I can see the little 1-bar thing. It's starting to slow down, and I'm looking a little glitchy. So I'm hoping that I don't. However, I was laughing during that introduction because I feel like I've said this before, but every single time I watch that, there's something that makes me laugh. That's egregious, man. When have you ever heard Keaton say the word egregious? Ever? That has to be the first time I've ever heard him say that word. However, it's a good word. Shout out to you, Keaton. We miss you, man. We're going to get into it. We got a couple of news segments that we're going to talk about. I think about 8 bullet points or so here. And then we're going to get into a tier ranking of the last 10 Super Bowls. So we have a fun episode ahead. Again, this is kind of in the middle of the offseason where not a lot of signings are happening. So we're just kind of bullshitting some of these news segments. There are a couple of signings. And the first one that we're actually going to get into is probably one of the bigger signings of this year just because of the name. And that's Aaron Rodgers. The old man actually signed with a team. Realistically, I thought he was going to retire. However, there's been rumblings that he was going to sign with the Steelers, and he did just that. He signed a 1-year, $13.6 million contract that includes $10 million guaranteed and can be worth up to $19.5 million with incentives. I believe I have the incentives up here as well. Let's see. Maybe not on this one. I did see it earlier, but it'd be MVP, Super Bowl, stuff like that. So what are you guys' thoughts? Again, I think it's kind of known that at this point, Aaron Rodgers is a bit washed. I don't think it's signing for the Steelers. It's not like I think that they have a necessarily better quarterback. They might have a better quarterback when it comes to upside, but a proven quarterback they don't have better than Aaron Rodgers. And I feel like, again, this is just a move to keep you at 9-8. And that's what the Steelers do. They love to stay around 9-8, and that honestly keeps you around there. He will be wearing number 8, by the way, so he's keeping the number. But what do you guys think?
To be honest with you, I think he should have hung him up before he even signed with the Jets. After that, it's just not to the point. You know, he won a Super Bowl. He had some good years in Green Bay, and then it just, age catches up to you. Right. The Perk Rodgers, he's not there anymore. And I think this is just like you said, it's just a signing to really let Mike Tomlin keep his job. And Steeler fans are like, well, we had a winning season, 9-8.
To have another winning season. Mike Tomlin's a GOAT because he has 17 winning seasons and he has 1 Super Bowl and
it's just like, don't you guys
a deep playoff run in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's like, don't you guys want more? I mean, as a Niner fan, we fail every time at the Super Bowl. I will admit it, but I mean, more than 9-8. I mean, the only reason why Mike Tomlin is still around is because he can pull out a winning season out of his ass, and I think he thinks Aaron Rodgers is his ticket to the wild card game, and I just don't see it. The only thing I could see is okay, they don't really have another quarterback, and plus it's like a veteran presence, so maybe Aaron Rodgers, coaches up the backups and maybe try to get some guy ready before he's done. But I just don't think it's a solid idea. No.
And it's not like Aaron Rodgers has the personality to do that. He's probably going to be a douchebag about it.
Yeah.
That's just Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. It's just kind of to the point where it's,
I think he should I honestly think he should have hung him up. At least before he signed with the Jets, or if anything, just after, his contract was up with the Jets. But instead he decides to sign with the Steelers.
Right.
He, like you said, he's not going to be the nicest when it comes down to, being that veteran quarterback and helping out the rookies or helping out the younger quarterbacks at least, right? Not necessarily rookies,
and mind you, before you continue, their depth chart is tied for second and third as Mason and Rudolph and Will Howard. So you have a guy that's a bit younger, hasn't proven himself very much in Mason Rudolph, and then Will Howard, who is a rookie. So it's not like they have much promise there. Yeah.
He's not going to do too much with them. He should have been done a while ago. He's out of his prime. It's almost like he's trying to do the same thing as Tom Brady was doing.
He's trying to do the same.
Like Tom Brady was 43 or something like that when he won the Super Bowl with the Bucs, and now here's Aaron Rodgers coming in, 41 years old, and he turns 42 in the middle of the season. Like, there's not much left for him to prove right now.
Dude, he's done. Yeah.
His prime was in the Packers.
Yeah.
Reminisce on that and then be done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, he's just pulling. Dude, he's getting closer to the Brett Favre.
Yes, he is. And realistically,
and it's funny because Brett Favre really like took him in really under his wing. It's like, oh yeah, my years are ahead of me. But then comes back for it's like Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he's gonna retire, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get in real good shape, and then I'm just gonna unretire for a year and see if a team signs me.
Yeah.
And it's not like that though. Like Tom Brady signed with a team that had a great defense and a good offense. He made that offense great. However, it's not like he's going into the Steelers situation like Tom Brady was going into that situation with the Bucs.
Yeah,
like this is different. The Steelers aren't even the best team in their division. There's a real argument that they could be third or fourth.
Yeah, and
so
going back,
it's tough for him.
Brett Favre thing too. Brett Favre was also 41 when he retired in 2010.
I think honestly he retires after this year, unless they make a deep run, which would be very shocking, very shocking. But we shall see. We're gonna move on though. We're gonna stick with the Steelers. Can you guys hear me? Because it's kind of going in and out for me. Okay,
I can hear you.
It's a little fuzzy, but okay. We're going to stick with the Steelers, and the only reason we are is because TJ Watt, his new contract is going to be up for next year. He is on his final year of his 4-year, $112 million deal, and negotiations have been heating up basically for this whole offseason. And if you don't know, obviously TJ Watt kind of had a down year last year. Again, he was still dominant, but compared to his old self and his number one pass rater self, which I do think while him and Myles Garrett were at their peak, you can make an argument for 1A, 1B for the best pass rusher in the league. But I will say last year he had a bit of an offseason. He was a little bit injured. And next year he goes into a year where he just had a 4-year, $112 million deal. Obviously, that made him the highest paid defensive player in league history. And then Myles Garrett came in with his last extension, which was up to $160 million. So the market has obviously moved, and it's trending into a much more expensive market for these pass rushers. But I will say, with that being said, there's been rumblings about whether they want to get it done this offseason or not. And Pat McAfee had, what's his name? Peter Schrager, who is an analyst, but he's not necessarily one of the analysts that's going to drop a lot of news. But he was on their show, and he said, I know the Steelers and TJ Watt are motivated to get a deal done. From what I'm told, both sides want to get it done. So it's not like we have like an extreme update on that. I would probably guess that's going to happen next year. However, do we think TJ Watt is worth the same amount or if not more this upcoming contract?
Honestly, man, I feel like, it's really the only shine of light for Pittsburgh is his production. I mean,
right.
It's really the only reason like they're any even close into games because his pass rushing ability. I mean, I feel like he's the only one that has a fire under his ass on that Steelers team, and he's kind of just he's the glue guy really, but on top of being the glue guy, he's probably the best player they have on their fucking roster. I'm sorry, TJ Watt is that guy. So right. I don't know. I mean like. Yeah, I think you pay him whatever you need to pay him because it's like you get rid of him. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Who are you going to get?
He'll be 31 after this upcoming season. Last year, he played all 17 games and had 11 sacks. That is the lowest that he's had since his rookie year, unless he's been injured. He obviously was not the greatest against the run, too, and I think that's where a lot of people have their concerns. He still is a great fucking get-off guy. He's a great pass rusher. He's been that dominant for 6 years now. However, against the run, he took a major step down, and I think a lot of people are worried about that. And he's also turning 31. So It's like, I don't think he's worth the top penny. However, if the Steelers do not sign him, I would be shocked.
That's the thing. It's like, that's the only, like I said, the only shine of light. But, yeah, he's older, but I feel like, he needs to retire. I mean, hopefully, he'll stay with the Steelers, but I just think it's one of those things where it's like you just don't really have too much going on for yourselves for the Steelers. I mean, TJ Watt has been just kind of a legacy guy for them. So on the run, I mean, he's not really a massive defensive end. Like, he's not extremely freaking huge. So it's like I knew he was going to struggle on the run eventually. Like, it's just inevitable with his size. So, but yeah, I don't know. They'll figure it out, but I think they got to sign him.
No, I agree. Anthony, you got anything?
Not really. I mean, I think they got to sign him too.
Good.
And knowing Pittsburgh, they won't. Sorry, they won't. I don't think they will.
Or they're going to make a big deal about it. We shall see, but they definitely should. He should retire as Steeler. Also, my internet is it's taking a poop, so I can't even so okay, I can do it now, which is good. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's going to be probably a big deal in the offseason, next offseason. I would be shocked if they got it done, especially after the Aaron Rodgers thing. I think they're just going to let him play out unless he holds out, which it obviously doesn't seem like he's going to. So we shall see. We shall see. We have a couple more signings and then just some interesting, I guess, news segments that I kind of wanted to talk about. So let's just get through the signings. 2 running backs signed. The Broncos signed J.K. Dobbins to a 1-year, $5.25 million deal. And Nick Chubb went to Houston on a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. And I believe there's some incentives for him. Yeah. The deal gives Chubb the opportunity to earn another $2.5 million if he hits certain incentives. And then let's see if J.K. Dobbins has any incentives as well. Not that I can see, but I'm sure that he actually does have some incentives. However, I want to give, and I can give you guys the day, and you guys can talk about however you think about these 2 segments like pretty quickly, because I think we should probably run through this. But I want to give a shout to the Broncos. I feel like last year they were one of those teams that made a wild card or almost made a wild card. They didn't make the wild card, correct? Did the Broncos make the wild card last year? I think they missed it by a game.
Yes, they did. They made the wild card.
So they did make it? Yes, they played the Bills. So they barely made it in.
I thought they made it in.
I think they were the second or last team to get in, if that makes sense. But they did play the Bills. So I'm not too sure what their rankings were. They were one of the last teams to get in. However, last year, we knew that they had some serious issues. It's not like they were a great team going into the playoffs. We knew they were probably going to lose to the Bills. And they were kind of a dark horse going into that AFC plethora of games, I shall say. However, I think this offseason, they have literally handled it perfectly. They have dealt with every single one of their weaknesses. Honestly, if there was a most improved team going into next year, I think it'd be the Broncos. And if there was a team that I would put my money on to win their division that is probably not high up in the odds in Vegas, it would be the Broncos. I think signing J.K. Dobbins, if he stays healthy, is incredible. Like, it is an incredible signing. He was extremely explosive last year. Again, his biggest issue is he can't stay healthy. So if he can stay healthy, I think that's great. And Nick Chubb to Houston, I think, is awesome. I love Nick Chubb. Probably the most humble running back we've had in the last 15 years at his caliber. He's like the Kawhi Leonard of running backs in the NFL. He really is just a GOAT. And that backfield's going to be fun to watch. I'll say that. Houston's got some players, man, and Nick Chubb just adds to that. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but that's kind of my thoughts with both those guys.
Nick Chubb, the infamous Georgia injury.
He's had
that was gnarly. That was fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think that's a huge signing. I feel like if both those guys can stay healthy, because they both had injury prone years,
right,
is huge for both the Texans and the Broncos. The Broncos, I agree, dude. They had honestly a huge offseason.
They had so far, and it's I think in the last 3 years.
I have not seen that many good signings. They just hit the market. They just right place, right time, really. Like, just a bunch of guys like not getting re-signed, and they just went to go scoop it up because they have money. Because, I mean, okay, you got Brock Osweiler or some no-name quarterback that doesn't ever get any money there. So it's like,
well, Bo Nix is on his rookie contract. They got money for probably the next 3 or 4 years. They're in a good spot.
It's like they're in a good spot money-wise, and I think the Broncos are going to be a dark horse for their division, and maybe even the playoffs.
Would be a good bet for this year, but next
they get to
year,
the playoffs, I feel like they could be dangerous.
It would be interesting.
We'll see.
I agree. Honestly, I could see it. Well, I will say this: if CJ Stroud has a bounce back year, then I could see Houston being pretty good too, because I feel like they did a lot of good signings and had a good offseason. But the Broncos have just been different, man.
Yeah.
Although I don't think CJ Stroud is going to have the year that he had his rookie year and then some, as in like an MVP caliber type year. I do think he will bounce back, but if he has a better year than he did his rookie year, Houston's going to be an issue. Let's just say that, especially with all the off-season signings that they've had on defense. They've added a couple guys on offense. The Broncos, though, man, they intrigue me. That would be a team that I'd bet on. Again, I won't, but that would be if I was a bettor. Ant, you got anything?
No, you guys cleared it.
Cool. All right, well, moving on to a couple of other news segments that are, we have this news segment kind of for the last 2 weeks, and we get some segments that we write down, and then we look at some, and it's like we try to go through all the things that we see that could be interesting. And there's a couple of segments that we're going to talk about near future here that I think are maybe us putting it on because we don't have a lot to talk about. So if you guys do have your comments on these, go for it, because it is fun to talk about with us, but it's also, kind of making up stories as we go. So the one I really do want to say or talk about is the Packers releasing Jaire Alexander. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because the Niners are the team with the best odds to sign him. Again, I think that our cornerbacks and safeties are very underrated. I think our backfield's super underrated. Last year, I think we were 12th overall in defense, but we were number 2 in the pass. And everyone's saying that we have an issue at cornerback and our backfield. That's a big issue for us. And I just don't necessarily see it. Charvarius Ward was injured, and he was not there when he played. Like, he was mentally not there. Our backfield was really, I don't want to give credit where credit is not due, but it really was due to all the youngins. Ronaldo Green, Mustafa. We saw Lenore take another jump. Lenore's a top 10 cornerback in this fucking
Lenore's
league. He doesn't
good.
get it.
And
our safeties are young. And I think Jaire would be a good signing.
Mustafa,
a good signing for our backfield. But if he's expensive and he's asking for a lot, stick with Mustafa, Lenore, Ronaldo. These guys balled the fuck out last year. So I could see that. And then the other odds are us tied with the Raiders at plus 400. The Rams are at plus 550. The Dolphins are at plus 600. The Eagles are at plus 750. The Panthers are at plus 900. The Chargers are at plus. The rest of the league's at plus 1,500. However, I will say this was released a week ago, and I saw something in regards to the Ravens actually trying to get him because Lamar wants him. So those are the teams that wants him. A team that I see that I think would be fucking awesome would be the Panthers. If Jaire stays healthy and he's his top 5 form, him and fucking Horn, that would be a crazy duo. So we'll see, but I think it'd be a cool signing for the Niners. I don't think it'll hurt unless he's asking for too much and he can't stay healthy. But I think that because of it. And we were fine last year, and we had a ton of injuries. And honestly, I'm not too worried about that. I think we're going to be a top 10 defense, and Jaire will just make it better. However, you guys can give your input on it. That's probably one of the news segments that I won't say that we kind of made up, but that's a bit of fun to talk about. That's not really a signing that most people are probably not going to bring up the odds and our opinions on it, or their opinions on it. So if you guys have a team that you think should sign them, go for it. But if not, then we can move on.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say. Solid defensive back. If the Niners sign him, great. If not, I like our secondary. I know, in the past, they've always asked questions and people have, said certain stuff. And I'm like, I don't mind our backfield. The youngins, it's next man up, get the youngins out there, they're balling out. It's the NFL. You either swim or you sink. So I think our secondary is fine without him, but it would be cool. But we don't have a lot.
Anyone but the Eagles.
Feel like we don't have a lot of money to be signing guys like him if he's asking too much. So
anyone but the Eagles. That's all I'm gonna say. I'd be cool with the Raiders or the Panthers. Like, I think that would be a good fit.
Yeah, I personally think you guys shouldn't sign him if it comes down to that.
Right.
I think because you guys are low on money right now. I don't think, and especially if he starts asking for just a little bit too much, just a tiny bit, right? It's not worth it. You guys should just drop it immediately because look at this, all right? So his big issue in general is just health, right? Over the past 2 years, Alexander has played in just 14 total regular season games due to groin, back, shoulder, knee injuries. It's not worth it. 14 games in
knowing
2
the
years.
Niners.
And knowing the Niners, I'm sorry, he's gone.
Knowing the Niners. Yeah, he's going to sign and then
one.
get hurt immediately.
He's going to run out onto the field, just, oh no, my knee, It's just,
knowing the Niners, he's going to sign for way too much and then he's going to get hurt fucking game one. Or even practice number one. Like, dude.
But just in general, though, just for the amount of his injuries, he's not worth it. He's not worth an absurd amount of money, in my opinion. Sure, he's good, but you can't risk it with those injuries. 14 games in 2 seasons is not
He's good when he plays. He's good when he plays, and the Niners need health. We've seen that. The Niners can ball out when we're healthy, not when you play 14 games in 2 seasons. But I do think that backfield is underrated for the Niners, and we'll see. It would be a good signing if it's for the right money. Moving on, though, and this kind of relates to the 49ers, maybe a little bit, maybe not. Deebo Samuel reportedly is drawing mixed reviews from NFL teams as Laramie Tunsil is praising him. I'm going to get into this article, and we don't have to talk about it too much, but there's been a lot of videos going around that looks like Samuel is a bit slower. It looks like Deebo's a bit slower, and I'm not saying that based off of a salty 49er fan. He does look a little bit slower in these practices. However, these are not full-blown practices. These are not games. These are not the typical Deebo that we see that turns it on when he has the ball in his hands in games. So I think people overreacting to that and saying that he looks big, we've seen Deebo look big since 2020. That's not a big deal. But if he does actually look slow, then I think that's an issue. However, his coaches and his teammates are saying he's a top 3 fastest guy on his team. So I think, not to say that it's bullshit, but I think that Samuel obviously has this kind of demon on his back that people say, hey, he looks too big for a wide receiver. He looks big. He looks this. He looks that. He looks slow. And realistically, he's coming back from an injury, so I get it. However, if his team is saying that he looks great and he's one of the fastest dudes on his team, we need him to put the pads on and show. Because last year, Deebo did not produce when we gave him the chance to. And I'm not saying that's an issue. And there's a possibility that, again, Deebo wasn't there fully mentally. But if he looks fast right now to his teammates and he's going to get the ball similar to like he did 2021 49ers, he will be a weapon. And I don't want to give a biased opinion on it because I've seen some videos, but I've also seen some takes from Dan Quinn, his head coach, saying he's one of the fastest dudes. So I want to see kind of what he looks like when he puts the pads on and the ball is actually in his hands during game. Mm-hmm. And right. I think, again, it's hard to tell with all these guys. We've seen even like reports with CMC. He looks slower. Garendo is going to have to get the ball more. And it's like, dude, these are like mini practices. Like these are always, what is it called? God, what are the practices called right now?
Mini camp.
No, not mini camps. It's OA something. OTAs, thank you. It's OTAs, mini camps. Like these are not full-blown practices. Like if we're judging dudes based off of how they look right now and how they're running right now in OTAs and mini camps, it's not worth it because we've seen this and guys have proven us wrong and guys have moved on and they don't look great. And it's like really just a guessing game at this point. So I wanted to bring that up because I've seen that both with CMC and Deebo, and it's like you can't really tell. And then we're going to move on to the Dark Horse MVPs that I saw on Instagram. Again, we're kind of making up some of these new segments as we go because there's not a lot of signings. But this one I thought was really interesting. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to get into the tier rankings for the last 10 Super Bowls. So let me share my screen, and I'll show you guys it right now. So I guess this girl, I'm not too sure exactly who she is, but Judy Batista, she does a dark horse MVP candidate for every single year, and she's been doing it for the last couple of years. Man, again, I don't think this is a bad list, but there's one name that just jumps out to me, and it's Travis Hunter. What the fuck are we doing putting Travis Hunter in the MVP talk?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jordan Love.
I thought you were talking about Jared Goff.
No. I can see them being dark horse MVP candidates. I can see Baker. I love Baker on this list because I think that offense is going to be great. Jamar Chase, obvious. Saquon, obvious. Jaden Daniels, obvious. Jared Goff, again, I don't agree with it, but his offense is crazy. He has a lot of great weapons. Justin Herbert, don't necessarily agree with it. Don't think that they're going to pass enough, and I don't think that they have the weapons. Baker Mayfield, I could see. Jalen Hurts, if he takes another step up from the Super Bowl, maybe. I don't really see that one as well. CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, I could see it with their weapons and how they've played in the past. However, they need to bounce back. Travis Hunter, though, to me, and she puts wide receiver / DB. I just think people are, even analysts, are getting this concept in their brain that he's going to play both ways. He will not play both ways for the whole season. I guarantee you it. And if he does, he will be playing 20% of the snaps for either one and 100% of the snaps for the main one that he plays. Travis Hunter will not be a fucking MVP ever in his career. Ever. I will put that down right now. Won't do it. Maybe if he's a wide receiver that wins a triple crown and breaks a record, sure, we'll fucking see it. As a DB, never will be an MVP. As a wide receiver, his chances are slim. And he will not be playing enough on both fucking sides of the ball to win the MVP. That pissed me off seeing it. Again, I'm not like super pissed, but he's not a dark horse MVP, and he will not win it. I don't know if you guys have anything else with that. That's my thought with it. And I can keep that list up if you guys want to talk about some other people, but it's just blasphemous.
The only thing I got to say is that I don't think Travis Hunter's, he can't be a dark horse already. I know it's called a dark horse for a reason, but I'm like, dude, like, he's
never played a snap in the NFL. We don't even know what position he's going to play. If he primarily plays cornerback, he has 0% chance.
Yeah, I don't think there is a reason for him to be on that list.
Dude, I mean, let's look it up. When was the last time a fucking cornerback won MVP? Got to be in the 90s. When was the last time a cornerback won MVP? A cornerback has never won the NFL MVP award. Okay. There have been some finalists, though. Oh, no. They're talking about defensive. So the last non-quarterback to win the award was Adrian Peterson in 2012. Defensive players, the last one was Lawrence Taylor in 1986. There's 0% chance a cornerback's going to win it. And to be honest with you, I was thinking Deion Sanders maybe did it because he played both ways, or maybe he was a finalist, but it has never happened. It's never going to happen. What was that?
I'm sorry. I think that was Sean cheering for the Florida game.
Oh, my God. That sounded like him saying, da-da.
Dude.
Okay. Well, unless you guys have anything else, that wraps up our news segment. You guys got anything? Or do you want to get into this tier?
Let's get into this tier.
Wow, let's get into the tier.
Let's get into the tier ranking. So if you guys see this, we couldn't make one in time, and we probably should have been more prepared. However, we are going to do the last 10. So it's going to be from Super Bowl 50 to Super Bowl 59. Again, this is going to be maybe a little bit unorganized just because you see like 59 Super Bowls in front of you. But just pay attention to 50 through 59. We are going to tier it S through D, as you can see. The last 10 Super Bowls. So each tier gets 2 Super Bowls. So let's start. Super Bowl 50. That, I think, immediately goes into D, right?
The final score of that was 24-10. The Broncos won.
Yeah, that was a snooze fest.
That was one of the worst Super Bowls, I think it was in the last 10 years.
I think that was like probably takes cake for the honestly one of the worst ones from 2016 on to now. I mean, it's just that was bad.
It
was just so fucking boring, dude. I don't even remember.
Well, that's why we got 2 though per tier.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're good with D. Ant, are you good with D?
Absolutely.
Okay. Super Bowl 51. This was the comeback, correct?
S.
So I'm thinking A or
S.
S. And mind you, we
S.
can move this around afterwards. It's not like a blind ranking. So I think we can keep it in S.
100%.
I think it's a S because of just the legendary.
Great comeback.
One of the greatest, probably
It
one of the
is.
greatest comebacks I've ever watched it live with my own eyes. Like, that was insane.
It is.
Just the hype
That is
on the
actually-
bench to him knowing he's got the game in his hands. Like, he literally froze
Unreal.
Atlanta. He froze them.
The aura was unreal. Okay, we'll put it at S. So I think we can keep it at S for now, and if we want to change it, we can, but I don't think we will be. Super Bowl 52. This is a good one too, Ant. What was the score of that one?
No, that's a D. 52.
No.
Oh, my bad. I was looking at a different one. Okay.
That
yes,
is
the
awesome.
Patriots lost. I was
Put that-
excited about that one. Everyone loves
Dude,
that.
that was
because the Patriots
absolute.
finally
Honestly,
lost.
that was absolute
That's what it
cinema
was.
in my eyes. I'd put it at A. I wouldn't say it was S tier.
Wait.
See,
This
I
was the
would
one
personally-
against Nick Foles, though, right?
It was. This was Nick Foles
Fuck.
coming off the
But
total.
that game was
coming in to
competitive
win.
the whole fucking time, correct?
Not
Like
Yeah,
almost the whole
but-
game.
when
Like, it was
it hit the
super
third
entertaining.
quarter. When it hit the third quarter, it was done. It was done.
Okay,
I
we'll
would
keep
put
it
it
in
at
A.
A.
personally-
I'm gonna keep it.
I
at
personally
A.
want to put that at
It
B,
was
but we
cinema
can
though.
put
It was very
It was
entertaining.
cinema
Super
because you
Bowl.
guys were making fun of me. That's why.
Well, it was a
that's
good
fair.
Super Bowl
That's fair.
too. I mean,
Yeah, but it also
great.
was competitive like almost the whole time.
It was great seeing the Pats go down though.
That's fair. We'll keep it at A for now. Super Bowl 53. Jeez, this one I think is going to be C or D,
Snooze
correct?
fest.
No, that's
Oh my
D. That's D.
God.
That's the worst one.
That
You
is
could
D.
put
That is
Yeah,
pro-
but
that
one was
actually-
awful. We were at the Burst for that one. That one was fucked.
Actually,
That one was
yeah,
bad.
I'd still think the Broncos one was worse. Like that one, I remember
No.
vividly. I think we were did we watch that game together? Because I could have sworn that Stewie said this might
Yeah.
be the most boring Super Bowl of all
Yes,
time.
yes. We were there at the Burks with all the homies, and that included Stewie, Burks, and
Yeah.
Hunter, who is a Rams fan. However, he was like, dude, this fucking Super Bowl sucks. I remember we stopped watching at halftime and just went and played games. We were
Yeah.
that bored. Like, it was that bad.
I watched it in
Um,
Boise in our freshman dorm, and I was like, this is really boring. Obviously, I was so like into it still because I was like, please win, obviously.
Right.
But it was still very boring. I was like, oh my God. It's like whoever is not a fan of either of these two teams, like should just turn it off.
sucked. Yeah.
Like
Super Bowl 54. Speaking about sucking, this one was
So-
fucking brutal, but I will say it was entertaining.
it was
It was an
competitive.
entertaining.
It was
Super Bowl.
competitive.
It was a good game.
I think
put
it's
that
B,
in A.
right?
No, okay.
Until
hang on.
Shanahan.
No.
That is an A.
Oh, wait.
I think
No,
that's
no,
a
it
huge
can't be.
game.
It can't be. It can't be.
Guys, the Chiefs came back. Like that is
This
a
game
huge
was
game,
this
honestly.
game. Super Bowl 58 was better than 54. Non-bias.
I think both honestly belong in A. Both of those belong in
And
A.
then this, and then this. But what
There's a
about
lot
this
of
Super Bowl?
games I feel like that could. I would put that at probably. I
think both the Niners and Chiefs are in A. Both times Chiefs came back.
We'll keep it at B
At
for
least
now.
Well, 2020
third quarter.
We'll keep it at B for now.
The 2020 I think would be at B, but
Okay. We'll keep it for now. Super Bowl 55. This has to be A or S or B. Like, there's no way it's fucking lower than that. It can't be. That was a fucking great Super Bowl.
Oh, that's
What?
S
wait, what
or
game?
A. The Bucks
Super Bowl
and Chiefs.
55. Although it
Oh, wait,
was
no,
kind
no,
of a
Didn't
that's
the
not
blowout.
Bucks slaughter? Didn't the Bucks slaughter them?
Yeah, but just the aura of it, like the whole precedence of this Super Bowl, I feel like
Yeah,
has to
but
be at least.
Tom Brady to show up. Honestly, I put in A.
Yeah,
But if we're talking about games,
that was a pretty boring Super Bowl though. It's
What was the
31 to
end score
9,
of that?
fellas. 34 to
I
9.
don't know.
Like that's a snooze fest.
we gotta
That
keep
was
it
a
in
pure.
B or C, but
It was
it's
a
all,
pure Tom
like,
Brady redemption
dude,
arc.
just
going
based
to
off of
another
history.
team.
Like, that's what I'm saying, though. Based off of history, like that actually solidified him as the GOAT. Like, it's like that Super Bowl had so much aura, but it also sucked to watch.
Yeah.
All right, fuck it.
Um,
I think we put it in C.
What? No.
If we want to, we can move it. Okay, B. But look
I
at the
was
ones that
gonna
are
say,
coming
I'm
up.
putting it at B. I
Okay.
wouldn't put it any higher than that because it just
Okay,
was.
fine,
It was
fine,
not
fine.
entertaining at all.
Super Bowl 56. I can't remember. What was the score of this
I
one?
remember that game. I remember that game. You're at your
that
place.
game was intense. That was an intense
You're
game.
at your
honestly.
place.
Wasn't it a pretty good game? Yeah, I thought it was a pretty
close.
good game.
Came down to the wire. Game-winning field goal, I believe, by the Rams, right?
Yeah, Anthony, do you still have the list pulled up or no?
I think it was a game-winning field goal by the Rams. That was a freaking good game, man.
23-20 was the final score.
Yeah, that was a really good game.
It was Cubs late touchdown.
That's what I'm saying.
With the
Like,
Rams
some of these are going to have to go
23-20.
down.
That's right.
They don't all have to go down. Not all.
Some of these are going to have to go down because look at the ones that are coming.
Yeah, we can fluctuate. It's fine. We'll just figure it out.
I think that game's a B tier. But
so then does this move down to C? Or does the Niners move down to C?
I don't think either of them move down to C. I think
we can only have 2 per slot.
No, we can't. We're doing that?
Yeah, that was Oh, that's how we started it off. That's why I said in the chat. And that's how I introduced it.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to make it hard, otherwise we'd put it all in B and shit.
Okay, we'll keep it in B. We're just gonna we'll fluctuate.
All right, we can move it around. We can move Super Bowl 57. Golly, that was a pretty good Super Bowl too, right?
That was entertaining, dude.
Scroll down.
Chiefs Eagles.
Chiefs Eagles. No, it's already up at C. Sorry, I put it up at C.
Scroll down, Zach.
It's literally on my screen right now. I can't scroll down.
No, I couldn't. There we go.
I couldn't see it.
Oh, is it lagging? Okay, sorry.
Dude, that game was freaking close too. That was a 3-point game. That was entertaining as hell. That's what I'm saying, bro. A good game.
We're gonna have to move these around.
I'm not gonna lie. I would put that at C. The Chiefs and Eagles one, that first one there.
I mean, 35-38 final score. That's pretty much that's cinema right there.
No, you're right. That was actually a good game. That actually was a good game.
I would just freaking change. I would put it up at A. I'd put it up at A, and then I would move down I'd move down the freaking Bucks.
I think that's
Bucks Chiefs game down, or either one. I guess
these 3.
Okay.
Dude, I don't think that this Super Bowl was as good as this Super Bowl that's coming up right now. I think this, out of all the Super Bowls that the Niners were in our lifetime, was the best. Like, it was competitive the whole game.
Yeah, the Ravens game was pretty damn competitive the whole time, though.
All right, let's just throw them all up. The first one was so competitive, like the entire time.
Let's just throw them all up, and let's talk about this. So, this one was the last Super Bowl. As satisfying as it was, I think it's a solidified C because it was a slaughter.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we have to do this too, Ant. Because both
I was thinking about putting that at C.
You know what I'm saying?
That Bucks Chiefs game.
Just based off of aura, that would be S tier. But it's also like that game in itself was a fucking blowout. And these 4 were all good games. You know what I'm saying?
I would put the Rams Bengals at A. And then
because that was one off a game-winning Super Bowl.
I would keep the first. I would keep the first Niners game at B, and the Eagle. Fuck.
Okay, wait. So that Bengals game though, that was won on a game-winning field goal, correct?
Touchdown.
I think it was a touchdown.
Game-winning touchdown. Okay.
Yeah.
It was to Cup.
Cooper Cup. Yeah, and then I would.
Which one was better, 58 or 54?
The most recent one. 100%.
I personally
150,000%.
Which one?
There's no way that
What'd you say? You went in
not
You went in
not the me.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Not the 2021 or not 2020. No, I mean, yeah, but it was a great game. But I still think the last Super Bowl we were in was our game for the taking. Just all the bad luck and everything just sweeped. As soon as Dre Greenlaw went down, it was just kind of cooked from there. Our luck was done. I knew we were over, but that game was so.
My internet's going in and out, so I can't really hear you, but I agree. I think 58 was better than 54. However,
Yeah, 58 is better. I think
it better than any of these? So I know that we have this solidified. What was the best game of these three? Because I think these three games were better than these two, correct?
Yeah.
Realistically, I think this was the best game out of the three.
Which one?
I do.
Yeah.
Dude, that Eagles game was fucking incredible.
It was great.
It was.
We got to look up the box score. We got to look up the box score because I'm
Anthony,
pretty
it
sure
was a good game. That was a high-scoring, entertaining-ass Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 52, dude, it became a slaughter.
It wasn't even a slaughter. 33-41, that's not that bad.
41-33.
41-33. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at box score right now.
God, what is wrong with that?
I mean, you guys basically lost by a touchdown. So, I mean, yeah, a touchdown loss, basically 8 points. I mean, I don't think that's a
box score. Okay, here we go.
I can't pull up anything.
I got it right here.
Okay.
Okay, Tom Brady, let's see, 28 for 48, 505 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nick Foles, 28 for 43, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tom Brady also had 0 interceptions. Billy Blunt had 1 touchdown. James White had 1 touchdown. Chris Hogan 1 touchdown. Gronk had 2. And then
here we go.
Clement had 1 touchdown. Jeffrey, Zach Ertz.
So,
okay.
I needed to show. Holy moly, Tom Brady went crazy. 505 yards and 3 touchdowns is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I just said that.
So, at the end of the first, it was 9-3 Patriots. And then it was 22-12 Eagles at half. And then the Patriots went on a 14-0 run. So it was 22-26. And then the Eagles scored 29-26. And then they closed it out in the fourth.
And then, Eagles got a field goal. Then Patriots got a touchdown. Then Eagles got a touchdown. And then Patriots fumbled. And then the Eagles got a field goal.
Right. See, it's all coming back. This was a fucking crazy game.
Yeah, all right.
But was it better than those other ones? Super Bowl 56. I feel like Super Bowl 56 was fun, but it wasn't like...
It was close. It was a close one, though. Like, that one was, like, so much closer.
23-20, you know?
Dude.
Yeah, it was a game-winning touchdown to Cup. That was crazy, too.
I think this list is good here. I don't really think you can move it around too much because it's like you can really flip a coin for the A's and the S, to be honest with you.
Honestly,
I think we could keep it like this.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, that's it. Unless, Ant, you have any more comments or Cody?
No, dude. I think this is a good tier list. I honestly think this is pretty damn accurate. I think most people would agree with this one.
All right. Well, I'm going to list it out right now or read it out just because all the viewers or listeners aren't watching it on YouTube. They're probably listening to it too. So in the S tier, we have Super Bowl 51, which was the Patriots versus the Falcons. We also have Super Bowl 52, the Patriots versus the Eagles. We were back-to-back years. And we kind of said that this could be interchanged with the A tier, which has Super Bowl 56, the Bengals and the Rams, and Super Bowl 57, which was the Eagles and the Chiefs. Again, back-to-back years. We were pretty lucky for both those. In the B tier, we had both the 49ers losses to the Chiefs. If we were to rank it, we would say that 58 is better than 54, the most recent one. In C tier, we have the most recent Super Bowl with the Eagles and the Chiefs, and the Super Bowl 55 with the Chiefs and the Bucks, in which Tom Brady solidified himself as the GOAT. This one kind of hurts me, I'm not going to lie, because it was such a historical moment, I feel like, for the NFL. But game-wise, I don't think it'd be higher than C. And then D, we had the obvious 2 worst. I think this was probably the easiest opinion for both of us, or all 3 of us. Super Bowl 50, which was the Panthers versus the Broncos, and Super Bowl 53, which was the Rams versus the Patriots. I think that was pretty solid, I'm not going to lie. That was fun. We should do more of those because that was a very creative one that I feel like we used to do a lot of the tier lists, and we haven't a lot. And I feel like that was definitely a good thought. But I also like the back and forth and debating. I feel like that was pretty fun, and we haven't done that in a while. But I'm sorry that your team was a part of at least a dub and a loss for the S tier. But that one, man, Nick Foles, that one's going to
come on, Big Dick Nick.
That one's going to haunt you.
Gotta love him,
It was a great game, though. It was a great game.
Gotta love him.
It was not a great game. It was a great game for you guys because we lost and you guys were making fun of me. That's the only reason why you think it's a great game.
Well, no, it was also a great game, Anthony. I mean, the score.
Yeah, it was. We had good food. We got to shit on Anthony.
Come on.
It was a hell of a game going to the fourth quarter.
Me and Jared Bedard snuck off to drink a lukewarm IPA at the school like idiots.
Probably hit the box tape. The mod.
Oh my god. The mod. Not the mod.
Not the mod.
Jared, if you're listening to this, man, we love you.
Shout out Jared. Bye.
See you soon, hopefully. Anyways, that wraps up the episode. You guys got anything?
Nope.
No.
Cool. Please like, subscribe, comment. We shall see you guys in 2 weeks. Peace.